Okay, hi everybody, it's Margaret and welcome to the Boboleros podcast. This is episode 23 and the podcast is primarily about knitting, inspiration from the world of the classical arts and design, and yes, random drippings from the brain pan that do often occur. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited to share this week's events with you, which included a trip to one of the most exquisite places I have ever been. And I'll give you a hint. The motto of the person who decorated this place, her motto was, "Color is magic." And for us knitters, we know that. Color is magic. So if you tuned in last week, you have heard that we are having a massive giveaway. And so I am extending that for one more week. So here are the steps that you need to take in order to enter to win. Let me get this out. Some fantastic yarn from Nutiden. Nutiden, if you're not familiar with, it is the most glorious unspun wool. It's from Sweden and it is hand dyed with no chemicals. It's all very eco-friendly. They have their own sheep and they do the whole process from the shearing the sheep. They have their own mill. It's absolutely exquisite. It's difficult sometimes to get this yarn because it's not always available and the colors don't often come back. And so this is a color called Loose, and this is from the update they did earlier this year, probably early spring. And it is glorious. And last week, if you tuned in, we were talking about the power of bees. And the healthiest profession you can have is to actually be a beekeeper. And they're finding that the vibration, the frequency inside the beehives is tuned to the key of C. And they have been using these frequencies to treat people with PTSD and to high success. So we started off the podcast talking about that, and then at the end, I was doing an unboxing, and this was the first time I saw this yarn, and to have it also be the color of honey and hives, it just was this incredible moment where all the things aligned and collided. So if you'd like to enter to win 300 grams, which is a sweater's quantity, or it's a lot of yarn, you can make some amazing projects with this, then there are just a couple steps you need to take. Number one, if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please consider doing so. It will help me to keep making videos like this. I really love doing it, and that would be a huge help to me. So thank you so much. The next step would be also to subscribe to my newsletter on boboleros.com. I don't send out much on the newsletter too often, but oftentimes if I do my own shop update or there's some special events or things or new pattern release, the newsletter is the way to find out first and often get discounts. And then lastly, if you could hop on to Instagram, also follow me on Instagram, Boboleros, and tag your friends. It just would help me to grow. I've been at this since about October, November of 2022. I've just loved this whole journey and sharing the projects and also just meeting new people and seeing the community come together has been just such a great joy for me. So this would just help me to continue doing this. So thank you so much. And yes, so the giveaway, last thing, most important thing for the giveaway is to answer the question, which is, what is your favorite color combination? 2-color combination. Recently, we've been doing a lot of knitting of the shrugs, Sunday shrugs was a big topic in the last few months. And so deciding on the 2 colors was a big point of interest, and it always is. Like, and as I went on my journey this week, this whole notion of, wow, like when 2 colors come together, it's like that old Reese's peanut butter cup commercial, right? Like you bring the chocolate, I'll bring the peanut butter, and it's like, boom, you have like this magical new thing come together. So we'll be talking more about that trip, and I'll share some footage with you and the inspiration behind the trip. I'll save that for last. And so, yes, on to knitting content. Okay, so let's get into it. So, finished object and what I'm wearing today. This is the Tiril sweater by Sandnes Garn, and it is in the most glorious purple color, and I don't have the color number at hand, but I will include that in the show notes. This is the Sandnes Garn yarn, and it's the alpaca Borsted, and I wish I could lay claim that this is my knit, but it's actually my daughter Maia's finished object. However, I will make a disclaimer and say I feel that I am a godmother to this project because I was helping her along the way. I won't lie, I had to rip back and help her get started on the lace panel one time, and yeah, help her out with miscellaneous things that maybe just like weren't quite right, but there was very minimal to do because Maia just started. If you're not familiar, Maia is my now 20-year-old daughter, and we started this podcast together, but it seems like she's kind of gotten a little camera shy, and so I don't know why, but she's leaving me to it. So in any case, she gave me permission to share some of her knits, and she has been knitting up a storm, I have to say. I am so amazed by her project. So because I was busy driving this week a lot, I didn't get a chance to knit, but she did the knitting for me, and this is one of the things that emerged. So what can I say about this pattern? It was a great pattern. It is a bottom up sweater, which neither Maia nor I have ever knit before, so it was a learning experience. Part of the challenge was determining how much body length to do because she wanted it cropped. And so it was, like really doing a lot of, trying on, measuring, seeing, where should it hit. And I think she got it exactly right. She is taller than I am, and so it does hit her higher up and exactly where she wanted it. There was a problem with the lace panel, and I don't know why, but she freaked out. I think as she was knitting the pattern, for some reason, her eye, and this has happened to me many times as well, where I'm knitting for a certain size, and then at some point, like, I just have a brain fart and I start doing numbers for another size, and that's what happened with Maia. So when she got ready to do the lace, she actually had enough stitches. She was doing, I think, the small or the second to smallest size. I think this is the second to smallest size, the medium. And she started to do the numbers for one of the large sizes. And so she just kept going around. She was almost done with the complete lace panel, tried it on and realized it was just so big. And then realized her mistake, that she was like way above stitch count. And so, yeah. Taking back lace is not fun, and but at this point she had to like rip back the entire lace panel. So I helped her with that, and I helped her restart the lace. And so that was my contribution to this project. So you could see why I feel like I could actually say, okay, I was sort of part of it. I was sort of part of it, but I'm so proud of her. She did a bang up job. Maia is very particularly attentive to the evenness in her stitch gauge and tension, which I am not. I just go with the flow. I'm trying to be better with it, and I have gotten better after seeing, people with absolutely beautiful tension. I'm still work in progress in this department. My little philosophy is just like, do the best and keep going. But hers is, if it's not perfect, I'm ripping back. So I respect that. I love the perfectionist, although, as a recovering perfectionist myself, I've learned to not sweat the small stuff. So in any case, let me tell you about the sleeves, because that was a complete fiasco. So she finished the sleeves. I don't know why I have like green stuff on it, but she finished the sleeves and then blocked the sweater. And she was a little concerned, like, can you block alpaca? She did the research and realized, yeah, it's okay. But, okay, takes it, like soaks it with a little wool wash, not too hot, not too cold water, just right. Wrings out gently the excess water. Didn't do the towel wringing out method. So, yeah, anyway. But then goes to put it on a blocking mat, and the sleeves had grown like another foot. It was not a joke. Even I said, she told me, she's like, Mom, I'm freaking out. The sleeves are so big. And I said, that can't possibly be. And then I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh. It was like orangutan arms. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what happened. How could it have grown so much? I was really concerned, to say the least. I mean, it was so long. In any case, I said, let's just take a deep breath. Let's just block it. Let's just let it dry, and maybe it'll like kind of shrink. So when it was nearly dry, then we realized the sleeves were still too long. She thought that the fit was a little too big and the sweater itself was a little too long for her taste. So last year, when I knit my camisole number, is it 14, by My Favorite Things, I had the same issue where it was just bigger than I wanted it. And I knit it in this beautiful like 50-50 cashmere wool merino base by Plucky Knitter, and it was their bellow base, which is scrumptious. And I was like, what do I do now? How do I get this smaller? And so I took a massive risk. I was like, this is a Thelma and Louise moment. We are just like taking this car and we're just going to drive this over the cliff. And yes, I did the unthinkable. I threw that sweater into the dryer and I pressed high and I shut the door and I stood there vigilantly for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, did I kill it? Did I felt it? Like, what's going on? Every 30 seconds, I would check on it. Check. And I saw it wasn't felting. And then I got more and more courageous. And I was like, okay, what would happen if I let this go now for 1 minute? And nothing happened. It just kept, drying, but it wasn't felting. So nothing bad happened, let me say. And so then I got even more bold because it wasn't quite dry yet. And so I said, let me go for 3 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. Like, long story short, after about 15 minutes on the high cycle in the dryer, it fit to perfection. No felting, no nothing. So emboldened by this new discovery, I said to Maia when she's weeping over these orangutan sleeves, I'm like, Maia, let's just put it in the hot cycle in the dryer. And she was like, what? It's gonna felt. You can't do that. I was like, you know what? I think it'll be okay. I can't promise. So you have to be okay with that. Like, I almost had to make her sign a disclosure, like, don't blame me, Maia, your mom, if things really fail. I was like, you gotta monitor the dryer and it's up to you. Like, if you decide to go that route, you know? Anyway, so she had no other option, and so she, like, that we could think of, so she just did it. And let me say, she monitored, it didn't felt, and it just bounced into shape beautifully. So am I recommending putting your precious hand knits in the hot cycle of your dryer? Absolutely not. But am I saying that based on our 2 experiences now that this has been, and actually another person I know did this with a hat after I recommended it, putting it in the hot cycle because it was too big, and I said just put it in the dryer on the hot cycle, a monitor, and she told me it came out perfectly. So I'm just sharing my experience. If you're ever caught in a bind and have no doubt that you could possibly get away with it, doing it without felting the wool, try it. I've done it with cotton. It worked, but then the cotton, after that, it was like a temporary fix, like the cotton did. I did a Sunday shrug in cotton, in the big cotton by Loopy, and it came out too drapey for the friend that I knit it for. So the shrug needs to be like a hug, and so I thought, let me just put it in the dryer, wet it, and dry it. And it did make it tighter, but then it loosened up again because I think it's the nature of that fiber. So anyway, that's the Tiril sweater. And you see the arms are good, right? This is a decent length. And anyway, it was an adventure. Knitting is often an adventure, isn't it? Okay, so on to some works in progress. So, okay, last week I started on a new sweater. I think I told you I saw the True Lane podcast. I was totally impressed with her sweater number 14. Yeah, I think I mixed up the number when I said camisole number 14. I think it's probably camisole number 6. Anyway, I'll put it in the show notes. But in any case, I started the sweater number 14. Anyway, by my favorite things. It's a V-neck. It's a very, very classic staple kind of sweater that I could use for my winter wardrobe. I have, again, speaking of Nutiden, I decided to take the Nutiden I acquired last year. It's beautiful honey kind of, this is the Langstum colorway, and it's really a beautiful kind of beigey. It's got little specks of yellow and almost like lavender. It's like a field of grain. It's absolutely beautiful. And I also am holding this with one strand of the Isagar mohair. And yes, again, I'll put the number of this colorway below. And so far, I haven't gotten that far since my last showcasing of this, but I do really like the fabric that is coming together. You see, it's got like a gorgeous halo, and the fabric is so soft and so scrumptious already. I absolutely do love it. I'm getting a little nervous as I'm getting to the next part of the pattern, because it now calls for picking up stitches, and it doesn't say exactly where to pick up the stitches except like for the left shoulder. So I think this is the center back, and so then, like, I'm trying to figure out what's the left shoulder going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be this stuff to pick up. So I'm guessing it's going to be picking up from the edge, not from the top. That would probably be a reasonable assumption. I hope I'm not wrong in that. So I've been like taking my time because I don't know. I'm like a little nervous about that next step. So a little bit of apprehension, but I'm sure. And I'm looking on Ravelry to see like when people, I really appreciate it when people show their knitting in progress, where you see, oh, this is, you know, they got to that, you know, place where, you know, now they're making the yoke, or now they're making the sleeve, and then you can kind of get a good, better gauge of, you know, how the sweater is constructed. So yeah, that's where I am with that. So far, so good. I absolutely love it. Working with Nutiden is a little bit, you have to kind of get used to it, because like I mentioned to you, it does split. Like it does, it's like this beautiful melted kind of effect where, you know, like if you put it, I don't know if you could, like, it's not really focusing here, but see, like it's got this effect that when you do that, it kind of splits, you see? So I have been on different Nutiden forums, and they do recommend making little mini balls of the hank so that you can work from this. And so that's what I've been doing. It's really, it takes no time. It's really fun. And working from that small ball. And I am doing this on one size smaller needle than recommended, just because I got gauge on a 9. And so that's it. I like this project bag that I picked up at Wool and Grace, and I don't have the brand name, unfortunately. There's no tag inside, but it is a really wonderful cause that, and it's made in Africa by just women using these wonderful fabrics. They're so colorful. It's like a wonderful sturdiness, and I couldn't resist with the blues and the greens. They really just spoke to me. So yes, that's that. And for my long road trip this week, I really had the impression that I would do a new cast on. Well, I brought the yarn. I, you know, got it all caked up, all ready to go to cast on for the Lamb and Kid Breton shawl. It's just like a really lovely 2-color straight up triangular shawl. Here is a picture. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I am really excited to knit in the Big Birdie. And so I got, last year they were doing a collection. It was like an Italian inspired collection. And so I jumped in on that, and I got 3 skeins of this. I don't think it's available anymore. This is called Il Mare on Big Birdie. And so, yeah, I got 3 skeins of this. I was thinking of making another Badger and Bloom sweater and pairing that with the orange colorway in Big Birdie as well. Plaid is my favorite color. It's like an orangey red. I thought it would be like so like Wonder Woman colors, but I never got around to making it. And I think as a shawl, I'll maybe, I don't know, I was feeling I should make a shawl out of it. So here I was, I caked up, I think it takes 2 of your main color. So here it is, I caked up for that. And then I didn't know what my contrast color would be. And I don't have that much Big Birdie to choose from. I have my plaid is my favorite color in my stash, and I think that's about it. But then I remembered that when I made my Sunday Shrug, and I made it out of the Three Dog Night, which was like their navy blue colorway, and I believe it was oats, like as the word suggests, a kind of like beigey oatmeal color. I remembered that I still had at least half of a skein of the Big Birdie in the oats. So there, or it might be vintage. I'm not really sure. I lost the tag, but whatever is the equivalent color name, they have oats, but in some bases, and then they have vintage. So I'm not sure if this is oats or vintage, but in any case, I thought it would go nicely. It would kind of be similar to the shawl on the cover. So I'm all ready to cast on. I can't wait to do it. Again, I was going to do it in the car this week, but yeah, it didn't happen. I ended up doing most of the driving. So that's what I've got for works in progress. And now for the good things segment. So I just want to show you something really adorable that Maia picked up. I had gotten from Pittsburgh Mercantile a couple things. I think that when I got these earrings from Pittsburgh Mercantile, which are so cute, these are these butterfly earrings, so lightweight and just so much fun to wear. I had also gotten this embroidery kit made by Cotton Clara, and it just kind of like, I didn't get around to making it. I'm not really very experienced in embroidery, but I thought this seems like a simple enough project to do. Well, I don't know. At some point, I think Maia asked, can I try it? And I said, sure, I wasn't doing it. And oh my goodness, she just took to it yesterday and she did all of this. Isn't that so adorable? Let me just move this little yarn out of the way. So cute, right? Anyway, it's just easy. It's a cute little, I think, straight up, is this cross stitch? I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what it is. That's how little I know about embroidery. But I just love talking about two colorways. You guys have been just sharing so many incredible ideas for two colors together. This is one that just like really strikes me, that fluorescent lemon against this olive green. What a beautiful, beautiful combo. Anyway, so she's looking into getting more kits like this, Maia. She really is enjoying this. She's making this as a gift for a friend. Then her dad saw it and was like, oh, I wouldn't mind having something like that too. So yeah, anyway, so that's one thing on the good things. And then lastly, I'd like to just share with you my road trip this week. So Maia turned 20 this past Tuesday. Massive milestone birthday. I remember when I turned 20, it just was like, you really feel, now I'm an adult, right? And I wanted it to be special for her. And so Maia's got a real love of things, vintage, glamour, Hollywood glamour time. She loves history. She loves nature, astronomy, and things like that. So I thought, where can we go? What can we do that would kind of like merge these interests that she has? And she loves, loves, loves to dress up. She loves to wear her hand knits. She wears them almost on a daily basis, which is so like awesome to see that she really treasures and really uses her hand knits. And so I decided after this book, after starting to read this book, Grand Design by Joy Calloway. This is the story of the American decorator from, she did the bulk of her work was in the early 1900s to 1950s, and it's called The Grand Design, a novel about Dorothy Draper. And so one of her last projects was the restoration and doing all the interiors for a famous resort hotel, a historical place in West Virginia called the Greenbrier. And it is a place so the book starts off, she's a debutante. She comes from a wealthy family. And, in those days, you don't work, you don't pursue any of those kinds of things as a woman, especially if you're from that kind of echelon of family. You just assume your role. And so she it starts off, she's at this debutante ball, and she has to kind of, you know, be looking for a mate, and or her parents are orchestrating this whole setup and things in any case. But the whole time she's looking around this room and wondering, gosh, if only I could redecorate this kind of old, you know, kind of like it had an old-fashioned feel to it with the decor, and she's like, this really needs a total do-over. And she starts in her, like, she's probably around 20 at the time, and she starts imagining, what can I do? And she starts thinking colors and like what she would do to change this resort around to make it look more fresh. And so anyway, around 30 years later, she gets that opportunity because the Greenbrier was also used as a hotel, not a hotel, but a hospital at the end of World War II. And it was serving and helping and caring for over like thousands of troops, American troops that came back injured. And so it was turned into a hospital. And then once it was finished being a hospital, that's when the owners of the hotel got in contact with Dorothy Draper and said, hey, you know, you've made like a huge career for yourself in New York City. How about you come back down to your old stomping grounds and bring us your vision, which she did. And it is jaw-dropping. I'm going to be inserting at the end of this broadcast some of the footage I took, and Dorothy's motto was color is magic. And truly being in touch with those color combinations, just the lobby itself when you enter and you see like these deep, bold green with a bold red together, which are usually Christmas colors, but somehow, right, like we associate that with Christmas, but somehow she neutralizes that association by bringing in black and white. So now you've got the black and white neutralizing the green and the red, and then she'll throw in a mint just so that everything just plays together. One of the astonishing things at the hotel that I noticed was that just like in a beautiful, beyond beautiful, in a masterpiece of music, like written by Bach or Beethoven or Chopin or Liszt, they are all about thematic continuity. So if you introduce a theme, there's a reason why it's there, and it will then be repeated, it will be developed. And that is something that I found in this hotel. There was not one thing that was random. Everything was somehow thematically tied. From the plates, you know, there would be like one motto there, one thematic element was her favorite flower, which was the rose. So you would see the rose appearing in so many different ways, even like a small little tile arrangement in the shower, or rhododendrons, which is the flower of West Virginia. She also used that as a theme. And the same kind of color shades. So there was like a specific blue that wasn't quite a Tiffany blue. It was hard to describe, but it would be in the hotel lobby and it would be in our bedroom as well. Like, so everything was so tied together. It was a masterpiece on a grand scale. This is a huge, huge hotel resort. And everything felt so intimate at the same time. We spent 2 days there, actually less than that. It was 2 nights, but we had to leave super early on Thursday. We got there Tuesday. We left on Maia's birthday around 8. It took us about 6.5 hours, but you know, it was Maia, my mom, and myself. So it was a real like 3-generational girl trip, which was so much fun. So yeah, you know, the girls got to stop for coffee, the girls got to stop for bathroom breaks, yada, yada, yada. So by the time we got there, it was about 4. We had a beautiful dinner in the main dining room, which had these chandeliers. Oh my goodness, they just blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. Explored the property, and then the next day we took in the spa. Oh guys, my goodness, I have never experienced something like that. That was amazing. So for Maia, I got her, she loves massages and stuff like that. So I said, yeah, okay, special birthday. So I got her a massage and the Greenbrier water treatment, which is so amazing. And so my mother and I also got not the massage, but the water treatment. So let me tell you about that because it was so cool. Oh my gosh. All right. So they have this, the Greenbrier is in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. And so they have this sulfur water that is underground and they pipe it in. So if you get this spa treatment, I totally recommend it. It's the best half hour. So they take you into this private room where you have this beautiful clawfoot tub, or maybe not a clawfoot tub, but it's a beautiful deep tub. And it's filled with this hot sulfur water. And yes, sulfur does have a little bit of a smell. If you think, like hard-boiled eggs, then you've got the picture of the sulfur smell. But they put bubbles in, so like at first you might be like, wow, this smells, but then you forget about it really quickly. You enter the tub and the water is hot, and it's like, so there's something so mineral rich about the sulfur springs that it just eases your muscle. It just infuses you with energy. At the end of that soak, I really truly felt like transformed. It was just the best feeling. They give you a cozy robe to put on. They've got like the peach tea waiting for you in the relaxation room, which feels like it's like from a set of an Ethel Merman film or something like that. It's like with the peaches and the light blues. You feel like you're in West Palm Beach. It's just like in the 60s, which was the vibe that I really wanted to experience, and Maia too. So it was magical. It was beyond. It was kind of like once in a lifetime kind of thing. It was expensive. I had to like save up for a long time, but it was so worth it. I have finally come to understand that celebrations are so much about the people and the experiences, and not so much about the material gifts and things, but really truly about making those memories that you'll have forever. And so just so grateful to have had that time, and so inspired by Dorothy Draper, her vision. Truly, she was a visionary to think that that's like 100 years ago that she started really with her business, and yet it really feels fresh. It doesn't feel dated, and that's incredible. So I hope you enjoyed this footage from the Greenbrier. Thank you so much for listening. Please do take part in the giveaway. Next week, I'll be drawing a winner for 300 grams sweaters quantity of Nutiden in this gorgeous, one of a kind. You can't get it anymore. The loose colorway. This is a beautiful honey color that I think is just so flattering. And beautiful, and it's got so many different shades. So yes, that giveaway will be next week. All you have to do is answer the question, what is your 2 favorite color pairings, 2 color pairings, and just subscribe to the newsletter and follow on Instagram. I've met so many beautiful people as a result of this, so I'm so grateful, and just sharing the love. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and can't wait to see you next week. Bye. Virginia's coming up. I had authority. stop. Let's take a picture.
This is boring.
I told you. We don't mess around for Maya's 20th birthday.
Oh, stop. Reserved. Can we go there or no? I'll come back.
Dear Maya, happy birthday to you.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Mama, Maya, you have a good birthday. Hold on, Mama. Hold on. Turn it
Oh,
around.
look at
Mama,
that. Oh, Maya.
So
That's so sweet with the piano.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's so sweet. So nice.